All right, what's up, Metal Summoners?
It's
We are super stoked to have you. It is Wednesday. We are live, and we are live with all of you. We are super excited, as always, that you have chosen to kick off your weekend right here in the middle of the week on your island of misfit toys. We, of course, have Heavenly Angel Alamo. We have the return of our beloved Psycho Steve, and we have myself as well. But we are also being joined by as well this evening. We are having Charlie Prestup joining us for tonight's episode, celebrating his birthday with us. So we are very, very happy to have him involved with us as well. So we are going to jump right into it and get things going a little bit. I'll bring Charlie in shortly. I'll get everything going, and I'd like to welcome our guest for this evening from A Rising Force, an ESP signature guitar artist. We have Leni DiMancari joining us. We lost him for just a second.
Yeah.
He will be right back on with us, guys. So we are super stoked that he is taking time out of his day, out of his evening, to rock out with us. Hey, Lenny, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm having audio trouble. Sorry about that.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, not a worries at all, my friend. But first and foremost, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to rock with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I mean, hey, you got me out of watching a TV program upstairs, so I'm good. Okay.
Hey, that's all right. Sometimes this show can be the best, drama-filled soap opera you've ever seen.
Well, that's what I think I would have been watching. So it's like okay, I don't want to watch that. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, happy to have you, my friend. So first and foremost, again, like I said, thank you very much. But we are now into 2023. How did 2022 treat you, and how is everything shaping up for A Rising Force going into this year?
We had a really good 2022. I mean, we went out on tour with Tesla for a little bit. Did shows with Warrant, Kicks, Firehouse. Who else? Fuzzard was our tour mates for quite a few shows. If you haven't checked that band out, you definitely want to. They're called Fuzzard, Fuzzrd. Guitar player and I have been friends for decades, so it was fun to get together. He's like George Lynch Jr. on guitar, so
nice. Very, very cool.
So that was good. The album did really well. Got a couple of royalty checks, so that was pretty cool. Sat on Billboard for about 8 weeks with Believe, with our single. Video did great. Everything went, it went as well as I thought it could. If you go in with low expectations and you're surprised, then you're much happier. You have really high expectations and you get let down, you're just kind of like, why am I doing this? So
for sure, absolutely. No, definitely understand that. But so talk a little bit about the newest record, because when it comes to new music coming out, it's always got to be a really exciting feeling to get new music out to the world and to the genuine general populace. So how was it getting the record out and having it have success like that? How did that feel as well?
Well, to me, I thought it was great. I mean, originally the band signed to Highball Music under Bill and Lori Chavis's record label, and they unfortunately passed away. So, I mean, we had to go through the legalities of trying to get our rights to our music back. And I'd already been working with Darkstar, who's they work with Sony and Universal. So, I mean, it's great distributorship and they're just a great label to work with. The VP called me one day, ironically, while I was out in the barn. He said, "So what are you guys going to do?" And I said, "I don't know. I mean, I talked to our lawyer. He said we can get out of the contract." And he goes, "Well, you always have a home here." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Oh, yeah. Jeff and I talked about it, and we'd like to offer you a deal." And they offered us a 2+1 right out of the gate. And I was like, okay. So 2 record deals in less than 2 years. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So they re-released the first album, and then we'd already been writing all the songs for the second record because that record was 6 months old. That's the way it works in the music business. They pick a target date, and then you have to wait until they release it. So once they have it released, then you go out and you play. We did a lot of shows when we were a 4-piece. When we were a 5-piece, we did a ton of shows too. I mean, man, there's nothing cooler than playing in front of 75, 10,000 people. and some of those people are singing your songs. You're like, wow, that's really cool. So I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It had some
Awesome.
stressful moments.
It
It's
wouldn't
like,
be rock. It wouldn't be rock and roll if it was perfect, man.
no, no, no. A band is a marriage that stays together for the sake of the kids. So, I mean, and we had some kids. So it
Absolutely.
was nice to go out this year with 2 albums worth of material.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. 100%. Be able to really play with the set list and change things up a little bit and be able to show new things to the fans for sure.
yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a great way to test the waters, and you can do really well in your hometown, but until you get out and you're playing in front of an all new audience and you're testing your material, that's where you sink or swim. So there was a show we did in St. Louis. It was sold out at the pageant with Tesla. We came out and it was just electric. They were just engaged with us, and we didn't even play that long. I think we played 30, 40 minutes, and that was it. But the night before we played in front of, geez, I think it was 7,500 people, and that was outdoors with Tesla. That was in Dubuque. Sold out of merch. Had to do a merch order in the bus on the way to St. Louis to have it drop shipped at my house so we could go do the next few shows. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And, it's nice to see those guys too, because we have a little bit of history. Frank and Jeff, and well, Troy wasn't with them. They had Steve Brown, Mick Brown's little brother, playing drums.
Oh,
Uh, those guys came, and I had done a record with Leonard Hayes from Y&T back in 1987. Right as he left Y&T, he was going into the producing thing. Plus, he was playing for Le Mans with Pete Moreno. And he invited the guys from Tesla. I think it was just before they were Tesla, too. I think they were City Kid. He came down doing gang vocals on this solo record I was doing. So that's how we got to know each other. Then we hung out backstage at the David Lee Roth concert. They were on tour with Roth. You get to know guys, So seeing Frank at these other events and Jeff, and yeah, I mean, it was kind of like old home week.
absolutely. No, that's super duper awesome, man, for sure. So let's bring in a little bit of fun. Let's bring in our birthday boy, Charlie. Let's get you involved, man. What do you have to say?
Yay!
Say hi to everybody. Happy birthday, bud.
Hey, happy birthday.
So far, so good.
I'm not going to sing to you, Charlie. Sorry. I do not have a good singing voice. I do okay on backups, but as a lead, the hook is coming right now. See?
All right, ask your question there, Chachi.
I just forgot.
Really?
Awesome.
That's okay, bud. Take your time. No worries.
I'm not going to be tested
Does
on
any
this
of your
material
family
later, am I,
members
Charlie?
play instruments?
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I talked over you.
Go ahead. Ask the question again, Charlie. He didn't hear you.
Does any of your family members play instruments?
My youngest sister, Gina, who passed away, was a guitar player. And she was the one that actually got me interested in guitar because she was buying me records as a kid. So my sister was pretty cool. She bought me Are You Experienced by Hendrix, Houses of the Holy by Zeppelin, Deep Purple Made in Japan, Janis Joplin live in concert. So I was totally into that stuff. So she was the one who said, you should play guitar. Well, then I grabbed it naturally left-handed, and she said, you can't play like that. And I said, yeah, I can. So she took the time and actually put the strings around so that I could learn chords. So God rest my soul, or the soul of my sister. She was actually the first influence.
Ah.
Everyone else, they don't want anything to do with it.
That's No worries, man, for sure. Yeah, Charlie, do you have another question if you want, bud? And of course, Steve, you can jump in as well.
You have any other questions, Charlie? Or do you want me to go?
Let's see.
Take your time.
Who inspires you?
Musically? Well, when I was maybe a little older than you, I'm going to guess you're probably, I can't guess ages very well. I got a chance to see Eddie Van Halen on the Van Halen 2 tour. And we sat in the second row, and that was about the most inspiring thing I'd ever seen. In fact, what it did is I wanted to be a rock star at that point. And I was studying to become an entertainment lawyer. About maybe 2.5, 3 years into college with the goal of going to William Mitchell. But in the back of my mind, I really wanted to play. Playing in college, being the circuit, and that's what inspired me was Van Halen. And here we are today. I think Eclipse is my 14th record.
Wow. That's sick, dude. That's so super cool. Steve, let's kick it up to you, bud.
That made me awesome, Charlie.
So my question is, since this new project, Rising Force and everything, did you ever get any slack from Yngwie? He had Rising Force as well?
Did I need that question because it's been...
Oh, do you have an album called Rising Force, project called Rising Force? Yngwie Malmsteen also has.
Let me hit the Wi-Fi on this, if that'll help. There we go. I got you now. Sorry about that.
Okay. All good. I was saying, since you have a project called Rising Force, did you ever get any slack from Yngwie Malmsteen since he had a project called Rising Force as well?
Well, not from him personally, but a few of his fans, I mean, I welcome the hate. I mean, Boston was a city before it was a rock band,
Absolutely. And then you mentioned with the new project that when you went on tour with Tesla, you had 2 albums out, and you had a song on the charts for 8 weeks, which is awesome. Congratulations on that. How did you fit it in your set? Where would you put it in your set?
It's crazy. That was our opening song.
Oh, okay.
So we opened with Believe and went right into Nobody Cares. Those songs are in drop C, so they're pretty heavy. So all of us had these really cool pedals called the drop pedal. I think they're made by Digitech. It's Digitech. So you can actually set it so you don't have to keep switching guitars. So we would do a guitar that was in drop D, just hit it down a half step, you're in drop C. So those 2 songs were in drop C. Then we just switched guitars, shut the pedals off, went back to regular half step tuning. So that was song 1 and 2. And then once we talked to the crowd, we'd switch guitars and we'd go into Crushed from the first album and then do Black Eyed Susie from the first album and then go back to the songs from the newest album. So we kind of mixed it up a little bit. I found that, either they're going to accept the new songs or they're not, because they had to accept a new singer. Mark was our singer up to the point where he just couldn't do 2 bands and manage a family. And I get that. I'm all about family, family first. But with Dave, he just kind of walked in on the project and took over. It was already done except for 1 song. Well, 2 songs.
Wow. Very cool.
That's awesome. For sure, man. Absolutely. Angel, just so you know, you're on mute, bud. Perfect, my man. But let's kick it over to you, man. How you doing this evening, and how are the Metal Summoners doing?
I'm awesome. Just happy to see Steve. Steve, we love you, brother. Glad to see you. And Charlie, happy birthday. Remember?
Thank
Your
you.
teacher gives you a hard time about being up late. just blame it on me.
Bad influence, Angel.
Of course, I'm a bad influence. I'm the uncle. I'm supposed to be a bad influence. You're the dad. You're supposed to be the wholesome, innocent
Dad,
father.
he's a better influence than you.
Wow. Ask your question to mute my child.
Boy, your mom is going to kill me someday.
First.
I definitely got a few really cool fan questions. Let me go to Jeff. Jeff once says, I have heard for years that there are some Hurricane Alice tracks that were never released. Any chance of those being finished or released?
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you hear the question? Lenny, did you hear the question?
Not sure if it froze or.
It looks like it froze. Lenny, can you hear us?
Oh, hold on 1 second. It looks like it froze.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Oh, DK says he's the bad influence. We got to talk about that, DK. I think I'm a worse influence.
Lenny, can you hear us?
Okay.
Sorry about
Hold
that.
on.
That's okay, man. No worries.
No, I can't hear you now.
Hold on 1 second. Let me fix that.
Technology, it's so much fun.
That's all right. I'm still learning this stuff. All right. How about now?
I think he froze again.
Yeah. Steve, you have an event that you're hosting. Do you want to talk about that?
All right, I'm back.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
all
back.
right.
Okay.
There you go. Can you hear us?
Awesome.
I keep losing you guys. I apologize.
That's okay.
No,
No worries.
We're a little close to the router.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh.
Charlie, you can hear us, right?
No,
Hey.
Lenny can.
How about that? That's better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
technology. I apologize. I'm done
That's
now.
okay.
Hey,
No
can we
worries.
start over? We're gonna do it over.
Yeah, can you hear us, bud?
Absolutely. Now
Perfect.
it's a one little thing in the phone, and I just
He's
hit
back.
it, and there you are. Now we're good. I'm back.
Hey,
I'll
no
be
worries,
back.
man.
Did I
Go
miss
ahead,
a
Angel.
Hurricane
Let's
Alice
go.
question in there when I fell off?
Yeah, we're circling back around because I'm stoked we get to talk about that. But go ahead, Angel. Take it away with Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff wants to know. He's heard that there's some Hurricane Alex tracks that were never released. By any chance of those being finished or released in the future?
Well, which version? I mean, I was in the original version with Scott and Rusty and Bruce, and we were a four-piece. So I played on the first album. The second album is actually Tear the House Down. And then Bruce re-released another version of Hurricane Alice with a new record. I don't know. I mean, I've got songs sitting on reel to reel that we never finished, but you know, we just did a reunion show together, I think 6 years ago now. And that was the first time we'd stepped on stage together in 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah, we didn't, on the way out, we didn't really like each other much when I left the band. So because they signed to Atlantic and I signed to a subsidiary of Columbia, which was Liquid. So unfortunately, all these record companies are gone now. It's like they disappeared,
Yeah, streaming seems to have killed it.
What do you think killed it?
Streaming.
Yeah.
I said the advent of the MP3. I mean, when all of a sudden you can get music for free, that absolutely started to kill the record industry. It's slowly gone. I mean, it's harder and harder to sell CDs. I was surprised we sold 1,000. You know, I mean, that doesn't seem like much, but selling 1,000 CDs to people all over the world, that was great. But our streaming numbers were huge, but our streaming revenue was nothing, you know, 1/100th of a cent, you know.
I've always been a CD fan. I still like. I bought my car because it has a CD player. Because that's how I learned a lot of the product, the knowledge of all the artists through the years. Besides reading the Metal Edge, because you guys were featured on that, and Rip magazine and stuff like that. And I would read the liner notes to say, "Oh, look who played guitar, who played bass, who played backup vocals, or whatever." And it was really
That was
cool.
the best part. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the best part. You buy a record, you could open it up, you read the liner notes, you'd sit there with your headphones on, you know. I mean,
Right.
I was booking the suite for quite a while, right?
Right.
And it's not the original suite because there was only one guy left. But then there's another version of the suite in Europe. And when I first met Steve, the bass player who owned the rights to the name,
Right.
I sat down with him at a festival and I said, I want you to know I had the album,
Hi.
the CD, the cassette, and the 8-track tape of Desolation Boulevard. And he put his fork down and just kind of looked at me and goes, "Thanks for keeping me employed, mate." And I'm like, cool. Never forgot that. One of the nicest guys on the planet. COVID took another one,
Yes.
What do you like the best about being a musician?
Nothing. Not a thing.
That's the most rock and roll answer.
Yeah, that the best part is actually getting up and playing. The worst part is everything else that leads up to getting up and playing. Because when you're a band leader and you're dealing with, support, you're dealing with stage times, you're dealing with writers, you're dealing with stage managers, curtain calls, the back line isn't right. There's a whole bunch that goes into it. I love doing interviews when I do get a chance to do interviews. I didn't do that many last year. I let Dave do most of them. But the ones that I did do, I really enjoyed it because they asked, questions about a lot of things instead of just the record. We got to cover some heartfelt stuff, So, I mean, playing is probably my favorite part of being a musician. And the end result, if I get a guy or a girl that comes up to me and says, I really like that song, I can relate to it, I've been there, then I feel like we did our job. I'd rather hear that than, wow, that solo you did was amazing. Because I would just say, I try to suck a little less every show, and they just look at you and go, what? And it's like, I'm sorry, I got a dry sense of humor. I never thought of myself as a great guitar player. I just play what it takes. I just want it to fit in the song. You remember in the 80s, everything was built around a guitar solo?
Yeah.
I just wanted to play something that was memorable, that you could whistle, and something that was interesting enough that people could say, oh yeah, it sounds like Leni. So that was, to me, that's, I'm kind of going around about, but that's all part of being a musician. There's certain satisfactions you get,
Absolutely, for sure.
Cool. What advice would you give to anyone starting out in the music industry?
Learn everything you can. Learn production, learn engineering, learn stage management, learn the industry inside and out. Because when you're armed with knowledge, you're better prepared. Learn how to read contracts. Don't be afraid to take some online courses if they're available. I was lucky. I mean, I fell into the right place at the right time. When I met Leonard Hayes from Y&T, he's the one who introduced me to all the guys that were doing stuff. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had Michael Jackson's second engineer doing our record. Wouldn't have had a chance to go to San Francisco and hang out with Metallica one day at the San Jose Civic Center. Life is a learning experience. You should never stop learning anything about the music business, especially. But it's really hard. There's nothing easy about this, you know. It's a lot of sleepless nights. You don't make a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
When you do have money, you're reinvesting it into the band. Yeah, there's a reality of it. You know,
And
I'd say that's solid advice.
Yeah.
Well, it is definitely about reading contracts and everything. A lot of bands have horror stories because they did not read the contract.
Get a good lawyer. We had the best. I mean, our lawyer's great. He said there's only 2 recording contracts he's gotten artists out of. One was Lizzo, and the other was us. So, where he got us out of the contract. And Lizzo went on to do pretty amazing stuff. So, I'm a fan of music. If you're successful in the music business, I'm your fan. You know, because it's hard.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about this.
And a question from a fellow musician from DK from Kickin' Valentina. He wants to know what was the first song you wrote and recorded?
Oh boy. I think it's a song from a record I did with a couple members of a band called The Regime, and it was called As Hard as It Seems. It's very poppy metal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get really heavy until, I don't know, I was heavily influenced by Whitesnake and Purple and Hendrix and stuff like that. And then Dokken came along and Van Halen, and you know, that'd be the first one. Kickin' Valentina's a great band.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Great band.
Else to the yeah.
Yes. Great guys, friends of the show, friends of ours outside the show, and just great band.
Very underrated.
Absolutely. 100% for sure.
And I blame you guys for introducing them.
Well, I don't do apologies, Steve, so you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. No,
Absolutely. Steve, let's kick it back over to you and Charlie. I see that Charlie stepped out for a second. So when he comes back in, of course, he's allowed to get involved. But Steve, let's kick it back over to you, bud.
all right. So my question for you, Len, I have a 2-part question. The first part is, we talked about it briefly off the air about your farm. The horses, what else do you have on your farm? And what the fuck is the price of freaking eggs like with you? Or do you have chickens?
We had chickens. We had chickens. It's more of a ranch than a farm. I mean, There's no livestock here.
Okay.
There's horses, there's cats, 3 dogs. My daughter has quite a few lizards up in her room. She has a tegu. That thing's huge. Yeah, the price of eggs are about $8 a dozen right now.
Yeah, they're like
it's
6.
ridiculous, you know. But there's a Costco. I mean, Costco's still your best bet. Look at me plugging Costco. Thanks. Can I get a free membership now? It's only $90 a year, isn't it? Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah, 75. I don't remember. Yeah, price of eggs is expensive. Everything's expensive right now.
True.
You know, coming out of a pandemic, there was so much money in the economy. A lot of people reinvested in different things. A lot of people did different jobs. With the bird flu, I think once this subsides, I think we'll be back down to that $3 and $4 a dozen. You know, but now you just got to kind of grin and bear it. You can stretch your omelet by adding milk.
True. Even milk is expensive.
Yeah.
Costco milk is kind of cheap. There I go again with Costco. Look at that. I think I was a celebrity spokesmodel for Costco.
Nice.
So my other question is, as far as in guitar, you briefly talked about, we said it in the beginning of the show about ESP is your endorsee.
That, yeah, that's my favorite guitar I've ever played.
Gotcha.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm on their site. I always wanted to be with ESP. Every year, every record, tried to get in, couldn't get in. A couple of people said you might want to pay attention to this record. It's really good. And then the VP said, yeah, let's bring him on. So, and ironically, the guy who runs it was George Lynch's guitar tech, Matt, for many years. So, yeah.
Wow.
So it's nice. I mean, I can call my rep and geez, I think I have 12 or 13 now. I'd have to look. I have some favorites. I have a couple that I kind of I don't play anymore. I don't play the stuff with the Floyd Rose. I just don't like trem bars. So those are sitting in the case. They're pretty, but they're sitting in the case. Finally got the Tiger Eye. I ordered that, and that's set in port for quite a while because it's Indonesian.
Okay.
So I finally got that about a year later. And I used it, I think, every show this year.
Sweet.
In fact, I opened the. It's a beautiful guitar. You want to see it?
Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Give me 1 second. I'll go get it.
Cool. While you go get it, just so that you guys know, Charming Charlie has left the building.
Hey,
Yeah,
no worries.
he has to go. He has school tomorrow. So
Happy birthday, Charlie, and we're happy to have you on, buddy.
So even though Angel is bad influence.
Can you guys see that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
The nice thing about it is the finish is great and it's got push pull on it.
Oh, nice.
LCD. Solid. It's a great sounding guitar.
Looks light.
It is. It's about 8 pounds.
Nice.
Let me put it back in its house.
No problem. Actually, hey, so while Lenny's putting that back, Steve, Angel, why don't you guys talk about Steve's event that he's participating with?
Okay, I can't hear you in the headset, but I'm coming back. Here we are.
You want me to say something about it? You want to say something about it?
Oh, you
All
say
right,
something
I'm in.
about it.
Okay. So, Lenny, I am participating in an event. I don't know if you are a fan of horror movies. So
Horror movies? Yes.
yes. So 2 of my nearest and dearest friends, their brothers, are doing this horror event in Jersey, where John Bon Jovi where he grew up, in a town called Saraville, New Jersey. February 4th, they came up with this holiday called I Heart Horror, and it's anything horror related, from the music to the movies to the characters to comic books. Anything you could think that horror is, they're doing it. And they're doing like a little horror con. They have 4 or 5 bands playing, from an Alice Cooper tribute band to a Misfits tribute band.
Oh, cool.
A couple other great bands. They have a couple authors from comic books and authors from horror books.
That's next Saturday.
Yeah, it's
Next Saturday, right?
from this coming Saturday, February 4th. Yeah. And all the money they're doing it for is for Deborah Lung and Heart Center, because February 4th is also Alice Cooper's birthday.
Oh.
And it's George Romero's birthday. So and they thought about doing this a long time ago, and they're on the Chase calendar of events, and it's an all ages show, and it's going to a great cause. So everybody should come out, because I'm coming
That's
out
cool.
of and emceeing the shit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We're doing with one of our label roster, a band called Diamorte. We're doing a few things that really reflect the Comic-Con and Dragon Con stuff. It's symphonic. It's hard to describe. It's some of the coolest music I've ever heard. So we're planning a tour for those guys, where it's going to be a theater tour. And the voices James was the voice of Silent Hill.
Oh,
And Drake was the voice of boy, I can't I wish I had notes. Evil was it Evil Dead 3, I think?
cool.
I don't whatever the video game is. I may have that wrong. If I have it wrong, send me a message and tell me I had it wrong. But yeah, James Dornan was the voice of Silent Hill. So it's pretty incredible stuff. So the music, the album was called The Red Opera. It's based around a RPG game. So it's kind of a neat tie-in. So when we do these tours and these tour dates, people can actually sit in with the band and they can play and meet the band. So it's kind of neat,
That is pretty cool.
Very gothic and very heavy. It's hard to describe. It's got edges of symphonic metal, almost Nightwish, Epica, but
Nice.
but it's so cool. The music is incredible. Very symphonic.
That's
We lost
awesome.
you.
Oh, he'll be back. No, that's awesome. I'm a huge horror nerd guru, gothic stuff. I actually just got a cool incense burner in the mail that looks like a circular Ouija board, and there's Ouija board stuff just all over my house, tattooed on me, all that kind of stuff. So I love all kind of crazy horror type stuff. I just recently saw that new movie Megan that came out about the artificial intelligence kind of android robot that's doing really well in the theaters. So I thought that movie was really cool. But yeah, I'm definitely one of those 365 kind of Halloween is every day kind of people.
I had when Aliens first came out, Alien, I had one of those original T-shirts with the alien popping out of the T-shirt, and somebody.
Oh, really? With the,
Yep.
Oh, what
There was a white T-shirt, and it just had the alien popping out, like that scene. Yeah. Yeah, I when it got to be super slasher movies, I was kind of a turn off. But
Gotcha.
a really good horror, scary flick is good. I don't watch it. The older I get, the less I just kind of go, okay, that's been done. I hate to say that. But to me, the best stuff was that early 70s stuff like Night Gallery and Twilight Zone. And boy, those were and Alfred Hitchcock movies. He got inside your head, made you really think.
I mean,
Hitchcock was a genius,
It was fantastic. I mean, you had the Birds and Psycho and Vertigo. You had and then the 70s you had The Exorcist. Even movies. Then you get into even just others you get into other Stanley Kubrick stuff like The Shining. But I also am a huge fan of A Clockwork Orange. And there's a lot of parts to that movie that are really scary and really twisted. The stuff that I get into kind of right now, because I've always been just kind of interested in any kind of crazy demonology type stuff. I love the stuff that they're doing with the Conjuring universe movies, like Conjuring, Annabelle, The Nun and The Crooked Man. I think that universe is really, really cool. I like the Insidious movies quite a bit. I think they're fantastic. And so there's definitely some cool stuff that I think. I mean, I grew up on 80s Psycho Slash. I've always been a big Jason guy. So I always have a soft spot when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I'm definitely with you on the whole, just a good, scary kind of twist your mind kind of horror movie always gets me really excited.
Yeah, the surprise ending. Kind of like our video. I mean, we kind of went into demonology and the occult and believe in the video. But then at the very end of the video, she wakes up from the nightmare. Kind of freaked out our old drummer. He was just like, oh, the people from the church think we're Satanists. It's like, no, we're not Satanists. No. So you don't understand. You have to capture an audience and make them want to watch. We had stuff in there. Do you remember that story, Goatman's Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Goatman in the video. Most people don't catch that. There's Goatman is in the video, right? Standing over the girl. I mean, if you look at it, there's a Shane, I can't remember his name. He has a YouTube thing. If you go look up Shane Goatman's Bridge, where he's yelling at the demons on the bridge and his buddy is freaking out, like, oh, you're going to get us killed. He's like, come on, Goatman, I don't fear you, you know. So, yeah, that was, so thinking about that, if I were to go into Chelsea's room upstairs, she has a lifelike Chucky doll sitting on the side of her bed. So if I go in there in the morning, it's the first thing I see is Chucky.
Nice.
And I just go, hello, Chucky. He doesn't say anything, but it's, it's a little freaky,
Oh, absolutely. No, for sure. But I love all that kind of stuff. I think it's super duper awesome. My girlfriend rides and dies with Michael Myers. Like that's her guy. All things like about those Halloween movies and stuff like that. We recently watched the Halloween 3 movie, which isn't part of the Michael Myers universe, but Michael is seen in that movie. It's kind of like a small little Easter egg, but we love all that kind of stuff. Like, we talk excessively about all the balls that were dropped in the Halloween Ends part of the final trilogy, but apparently there's actually a petition out right now that's got enough signatures on it to like warrant like a remake of the Halloween Ends movie, but that was such a huge Hollywood film with so much money spent that I don't really expect them to spend more money to get it right. Unfortunately, I think that's just a pill we're going to have to swallow.
No.
You know that the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie was scary as hell.
Yeah.
That one was scary.
Yeah. That one was really good for sure. I got to
Halloween. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to see the Nightmare on Elm Street movie again on the big screen, like right after COVID, because when movie theaters reopened in my area, obviously with what happened with the blackout and the lockdown, is most studios had to push their movies back a year or two. So around Halloween, there were like no new movies coming out. So the local theater was showing like just tons of movies for like $5. And then me and my buddy Ron went like every day for like 6 weeks. We went and saw like Hocus Pocus and Nightmare on Elm Street and The Exorcist and Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the original Ghostbusters movie. It was really cool.
You mentioned the horror movies. I like the spoof that Mel Brooks wrote, Young Frankenstein. That wasn't scary. It was really funny.
Yeah,
my sister and I went and saw that for 99 cents at the Highland Theater when it was open. We probably saw it about 15 or 16 times. It was funny every single time,
Yeah.
That's a good memory of Gina,
Oh, nice. With Gene Wilder.
Cloris Leachman,
Mm-hmm.
Terry Garr, Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman. What a cast,
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. So Lenny, I wanted to keep it a little bit on gear a little bit, and Metal Summoners, keep pumping in your questions so that we can have more stuff from you guys answered to Lenny. So make sure that you keep pumping in your comments and your questions, and Angel will track them, and we'll definitely get to them. But we were talking off the air about your Marshall stack, and I think that's super duper cool about the one that you have, why you kept it, and the two that you had at one point. So I thought it'd be really rad if you'd kind of retell the story about how you got your hands on those original Marshalls.
Well, the first one I had was in 1986, and I used that when I was in Hurricane Alice. Then somebody busted the back window out of my truck during a snowstorm and took two guitars and my head and a effects rack. So trying to find another one of those was pretty hard. Then there's this beautiful invention called Reverb. And you just type in what you wanted. And I was telling my bandmates, because originally when I was in a band called Dare Force for, not even a year. And the guitar player was always complaining about my Marshall. He said, it just doesn't sound big enough. And then I got a JCM 900, and that was too big. And then Brian, Brian, who's been one of my best friends forever, came across a 3203, and I had told him the story that this amp is a 30-watt hybrid Marshall, and they quit making it in 1989. If I could find one, I would use that, because you really don't need 100 watts. You don't need 50 watts. As long as it sounds good and you move air, that's all that matters. So the one that I wound up finding 3 of them. I bought one in Nova Scotia, and another one, boy from California, and the one that Brian found. And the one that I hung on to was a kind of a tweed. They call it a basket weave Marshall. They made a limited production of those. It's in green Tolex. Here, I'll show it to you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See if I can get over here. Do you see it?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
So it's green Tolex. And the nice basket weave. It's an Artist 3203. It was original. That's a 1982 Marshall that I have. We got a couple more in the garage. They're light cases. There we go. Did I lose you? What did I touch? Because now I don't. How do I get that out of there? Do I just,
no worries.
Okay. Now I have too much of me. I can't take too much of me.
No worries, Lenny. It's all good. Can you still hear us, bro?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you fine. You guys are small. There you are. Okay, it's back.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sorry. That's actually that's on our end. We made you bigger so that way the fans could see the Marshall better.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys that I work with are now using Kempers. My friend Bill Laverty from Firehouse, he uses an Axe FX, a fly rig. A lot of the guys I work with are using Kempers, and you download those sounds right into your Kemper and just plug it direct into the board. That's great. I know it's light, it's cool, but I still like to move a little bit of air. I'm always being told to turn up on stage, but I don't have loud volume. I haven't lost any hearing in 30 plus years. I haven't lost anything. And I have friends that are deaf as a stump, especially bass players. They're like, huh? For me, it's like I haven't lost anything in the top end. But people are always asking me to turn up. Our sound guy, Steve, was always saying, hey, could you bring it up just a little bit? I go, really? Yeah, it's like, yeah. It's like, okay. So I'm not a big volume guy. I want the PA to do the work. I don't want to do the work,
Yeah, absolutely, man, for sure. 100%.
Sorry, I got off on a tangent, but
no, man.
Yeah, to me, it's like, a 30-watt Marshall, that's plenty. That's all you need. I got this little Code 50. I play with my friends in a Heart tribute band when I'm not out with, the other band. So it's like I have this little Code 50, and people are like, really? Seriously? I go, yeah, it's Marshall's basically version of a Line 6, but it has nothing but Marshalls in it. So I can dial up a JBM, a JCM 900, 800, a JMP. I can dial up any Marshall sound and use any cabinet combination. I happen to like the JVM. It's the same that Nita Strauss uses.
Right on.
I just turn it, when I have these small, really fun gigs that we do, I just bring that and I just turn it to JVM and mic it. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're getting that tone out of that? I said, yeah, isn't it great? The thing weighs 14 pounds, My Marshalls weigh almost as much as me at a time,
Absolutely. And now, and one other thing before I kick it down to Angel and some more of the fan questions, with your ESP guitars, I noticed that they've got that Les Paul shape. Is that kind of your preferred like style, feel, and kind of design? Is that like your comfort zone for your physical guitars that you play?
Yeah, I love the EC versions. I've got an EC 401, an EC 1001T, a 1000. Oh, I've got 3 1000s. I got an Andromeda, 2 256s. Still my favorite one of all of them. I mean, for crunch sound, it would have to be the Tiger Eye, the 1000 T. I still, and it's funny because I named all my guitars, and people think I'm nuts, but I named them all. So the white one is the EC 401. I'll use that half the night because it just feels good, and it's got great tone. It's got those Hetfield 8085s in them, the EMGs. It's just a nice guitar. So that one I named Kill Whitey off of what was it, Chris Farley movie. Remember when I think it was Black Sheep? Was it
Black
that
Sheep,
one? Or,
Black Sheep.
Yeah, where he goes, Kill Whitey, and I said, yep, that's the name of the guitar, so. That one I've got Black Guitar Matters, Black Guitar Lives Matter. That's what I called that one. That was my, it's kind of a translucent black. The Andromeda one I didn't change. The T-burst in the picture that you posted,
Yeah,
that's called Teabag.
yes.
So what else? Tiger Eye's just Tiger Eye. Yeah, they've all got names.
I hear you on that. I do similar things with my guitars and like most of my basses that I use like primarily, they'll have like certain names and stuff. Like my main like Ride or Die, which is a black silver tone. It just feels and sounds badass. It's I call it Lizzie because I'm a huge Lizzie Borden fan. Not only just the band, but I grew up on the being very interested in the original Lizzie Borden trials. So my Ride or Die bass has always been called Lizzie. I have like a neon green bass with like a black head that I call Peter because I'm a huge Typo Negative fan. So that's kind of like my Peter Steele like tribute bass that I love to play. It's from Dean. I just think it's fantastic. I have like a Brownsville like Les Paul style guitar that's got this like glittery gold silver finish that I call Star just because it glitters and sparkles and stuff like that. So I call that one Star. So I definitely know what you mean when it comes to putting names on things for sure.
I like the EC version because they're lighter than the Les Paul. They sound great.
Mm-hmm.
They're 24 fret. Oh, the
nice.
256. The 256s are 22. All the other ones are 24. They feel great.
Absolutely.
And ESP sends me these really nice cases.
Oh yeah.
They come in. So yeah, they're beautiful cases. They're as nice as the interior of my vehicle.
Oh, that's awesome.
I go, gosh, if I was smaller, I'd sleep in this thing. It's like a little pillow of love. You just put it in there, and it's just you just shut it. It's just like, hey, and that's why I said I got to put this one home. So
yeah,
I guess
I've been
like that. I love my guitars.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. All of my solo guitars are like the ones that I have on display. All of them, like throughout all around the house, like they all sit on their own individual stands because I tell people, I'm like, all my guitars, they have to have their own little stand to sit on or they get jealous of each other. And the problem is I've gotten to so many guitars that some of them just have to live in their cases for now until I've got more space to be able to give them their own specific stands so they don't get jealous.
Right.
But yeah, so no, I love all that kind of stuff. I've actually, one of my favorite cases to use, and I want to get like more of them. But I've been wanting to get in touch and get some love and attention from the Coffin Case company because I love their cases. Obviously, I love the shape, being like a horror guy, being like a goth rock guy. I love all of their cases, but they're also really beautifully velveted on like the inside. Like they're really, really cool.
Yeah, they're neat cases.
Yeah, Absolutely. Angel, let's kick it down to you, brother. Let's pull in the Metal Summoners for a little bit more time with Lenny. On that note, though, guys, it is last call for alcohol. We do have Lenny on a schedule. He's still going to rock with us for a little while longer, but make sure that you're pumping in your questions so that way all of them get answered. But we still have time, guys. Don't panic. Just letting you guys know that it is about that time, though. So last call for alcohol when it comes to questions, guys. Pump them on in there. Angel, take it away.
Another question from Jeff. Are we going to see a ESP model?
No, probably not. I mean, if I was a platinum artist and I was, it's such an honor to be on that website with so many different, James Hetfield's on the site, Alex Skolnick, one of my favorite guitar players, is on the site. He's got his own version. Gary Hoey, I think, has one. I don't think so. That'd be really cool, but I'm not big enough to have that. I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'll push the LTD stuff all day long because I like it. The regular USA ESPs, those are great, but I like the LTDs. I mean, play what you feel. Play what you like. That's flattering, but no, I don't think so. Unless I did it. If I did my own custom shop one, then it would be one of a kind, not like a production model. It's a cool question, though. Thanks.
And a silly question. If you have $100,000 to spend in 30 minutes, where are you going?
Right to the bank. I'm going to pay off a few debts. I'd love to go buy something, but just not. I'm such a minimalist other than guitars. I mean, I like a simple life. I don't think you need to have a lot of stuff.
No.
So between the two of us, other than the fact that she loves to buy dishes, me, it's like and horses, of course. Now she's eyeballing another horse. So I guess if I had $100,000, you know what? I guess I'd give her enough to get that other show horse she's been telling me about. Of course, I know she's not listening to this. She's getting ready for bed. I can hear her upstairs. So, yeah, I would give it to her, but not all of it. Give her about $25,000 of it. I'm trying to read. Hey, Lenny, I can't read that. It's really small. Can you read that question to me?
Yeah, it's from Chris Miller. He said he caught your Bogart's show. Great show. Just started playing around Minneapolis. Would love to pick your brain about the business sometime.
Shoot me an email at my company. I can help you out. Just go to 1013entertainment.com. It's TEN13entertainment.com. Go to the contact section. Just fill it out. I read everything that comes through, including the spam and the people that want to give me money. These people that keep wanting to offer me loans for my company, I would buy it if they didn't have the decimal point after the first 200, because they'll go 200 decimal point, then 00, right, comma, then 00. What is that? $230 loan? I mean, nice try. That's when you call them and said, you call them up and they go, "Hi, my name is John Smith. Can I help you?" Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, John.
Another question. Will the Rising Force lineup in 2023 be the same as last year?
No, it won't. We'll get a new singer. So if we decide to finish album number 3, right now the band's kind of just writing, taking some time off. Dave left the band in December. I wish him all the best. I could say other things, but I'll take the high road. We'll just leave it at that. So we'll probably, if we continue, continue to do the next record. We'll probably get another singer. We need to have Mark back from the first album. I'm sure he'd come back and do the record. I just don't know if he would tour,
And one of our favorite questions from Brian. If you can have any two musicians in the studio, who would it be?
Oh boy. I mean, a drummer and a bass player, or does it matter?
Doesn't matter. Could be two bands. Could be two different musicians.
Okay, let's go deep. Let's go David Coverdale, circa 1982, 83, like the Saints and Sinners era, maybe Love Hunter. Come and get it. You know what I mean? And then to be able to say I played with Cozy Powell, that would have been cool.
Oh, nice.
Because I was lucky. I mean, I just our drummer Peter, it was like playing with John Bonham, and ironically, he plays in a Led Zeppelin tribute band when he's not doing ARF. So it's like playing with Bonham. So, but a lot of people say Bonham. I'd go Cozy, because you think of Cozy, he did so many different things. Rainbow, he did, I think he did some Dio stuff, didn't he? Or no, that was Apathy. Whitesnake, Michael Schenker. Cozy was a beast,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I love Michael Schenker. I've got one of his signature guitars behind me.
Oh, cool. Was that the reissue Dean ones that they did?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thought I saw another question pop up, Angel.
No, you said got to put out one album. I guess with the two different musicians they put in the studio, they would just put out one album. Which I think you answered already.
Put out one.
Yeah. That was like just a continuation of his
one was
question.
with Mark, one was with Dave. Yeah. Whoever the next singer is, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Ironically, I'm doing the solo record with Steve. I mentioned that earlier from Platinum Overdose. He'd be ideal. Had a great voice, and he's such a great guy. That's the one thing that camaraderie is really important when you're in a band. And if you can work off each other and get the best out of each other without killing each other, that's the best part of being in a band.
Absolutely.
A lot of good questions tonight. No bad ones.
Oh, no.
Nothing really negative unless you're just deleting those. Because I would never know because you're on the other side of it. It's like, I'll show that guy.
I don't get any. No, luckily on my end, I don't get any negative questions.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm going to kick it right back up to you, Jay. That was clearing the boards.
Absolutely. Hey, Angel, do me a favor, bud. Make me the big screen.
Hold on 1 second.
Make me the big screen.
Second.
You're not the big screen. I'm the big screen.
There we go. No, just because we've been talking ESP, and I just got my hands on a new ESP guitar. Also because as much because I'm into like horror and all that, like paranormal stuff. So I got a Ouija board guitar.
Oh, is that the Hammett version that he came up with?
Yep.
Demonology? Yeah. Wow. Oakley for the win. Look at that action.
Well, shucks.
Cool.
I mean, Well,
is that just for your own collection, or are you going to play it?
Yeah. I got this from my buddy Dave, who has an amazing record store in Bel Air, Maryland, called Vintage Vinyl. And so I went to his shop. I've gone to his shop a bunch, but he has a new one now. And I took my girlfriend over there to check it out one time, and I knew they had it. And then I went back a few days later because they were doing a meet and greet and a live solo performance with John Christ from the Danzig Band.
Okay.
And so, we went and, I got to say hi to John and talk to him. He and I have met a few times over the years, but we were just talking about stuff. And I was like, because they also have like the super duper official, like black version of this guitar, which is a little bit out of my price range right now at almost $6,000. But I was like, but this one is great. It's nice. It's light. It feels great. And I was like, I can't pass up a Ouija board anything pretty much. So I left the store with this guy to add to my ever expanding, psychotically huge Ouija collection.
Wow, that's very cool. Very cool.
Yes, but that one was super duper stoked about that. But I wanted to also ask a little bit. We talked about you touring with Tesla, and we mentioned the shows that you played with like Warrant and Kicks. How was it also playing with those bands?
They're great. I mean, the nice thing about it, there's very few dinks that you deal with in the music business. It's not the musicians; it's usually the road managers or tour managers. Tesla's guys were great to work with. Warren I've played with before, so it was nothing new. But the cool thing was, I think it was Robert Mason. Robert Mason was singing.
Oh yeah.
So that was neat. Because when I played with him before, Jamie St. James from Black and Blue was their lead singer.
Oh
so
yeah,
that dates back to about 07, 08, maybe 06.
Yeah, that was I believe it was the Born Again record when Jamie was singing with them when they did like the devilish like Elvis album cover.
Right. And ironically, the Saint, best friends with my old bass player from Hurricane Alice, Scott Warner. And they did an album together and went to Japan together. And that record was called Freight Train Jane. So Scotty and I still talk to each other all the time. I was like, yeah, man, we did a really good record together. We should do another one. I said, Scott, you don't even play anymore. You're busy building these really neat things for hospitals now. But what a great guy. Warner was such a joy to be in a band with, But he was telling me all about him and Saint going out, Yeah. Jamie had one of those voices, that was just, how you hear singers and you just go, that's why they got signed, because of that voice. Great singer, very original sounding.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super duper cool, man, for sure. And and you also mentioned it a little bit, and I definitely wanted to touch base a little bit on it. Talk a little bit about 1013 and how your company kind of came to be and what you specialize in.
Well, it was strange because it wasn't what I set out to do. I mean, originally I wanted to be an entertainment lawyer, and then music changed that. I wound up teaching entertainment law at the college. So I did that, and I taught music business theory and just basic music business courses. They hated me at that college because I don't know why. I got 5 out of 5 on the evals when I was there. It was a Minnesota School of Business. So, I mean, I don't think they exist anymore. I think they've shut all of them down. But I had a good time being a teacher with that. So eventually, I had an agent that had told me that the band I was in was unbookable. So I took offense to that, and I turned around and rebranded it and repackaged it and put 80 shows down that year for the band. Well, then another band said, gosh, I really like what you're doing. You want to work with us too? So I started to build an agency. Eventually, the agency, after 16 years now, is pretty strong. We have over a dozen national acts that I represent and work with, a lot of tribute acts. So I kind of branched out. And then I do festival management too. So I'll go in and I'll book the talent, but then I'll bonus it and I'll be on site and I'll make sure that everything goes well. So it's been neat. It's been a lot of work. I mean, you go from eating ramen when you start your own business to just eventually eating better ramen. It hasn't always been pretty. There were some lean times. COVID almost wiped the company out.
Yeah.
But we bounced back. So we've had some bands that we've done really well at any luck with. Just, I mean, the hard thing in this business is being able to learn how to say no to things. But you got to pick your battles, you know.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff that we have now is all referrals. It started with referrals, and it continues to get referrals. I think we get, I'm not exaggerating, probably 10 a week of bands that want to be a part of the roster, and I give them the same scoop. I mean, it's just like we're not that big. The music business isn't really that big, and our agency may look big, but there's only 3 of us that run it. You know.
Yeah.
I'm in the Midwest. I've got a South agent, and I work with an agent out East. The company did fine. I mean, last year we did over $1 million. This year I think we'll probably exceed that. We have a couple of tours that are killing it right now. Our Queen tribute band from Los Angeles is just killing it.
Oh.
So, and they don't use any tracks. I mean, it's all live. So,
yeah, is that the?
And that was the singer from the Suite.
Yeah, that's Paulie
Yeah.
Z. I was gonna say, is that the Bohemian
That's
Queen
Paulie
band?
from the.
Yeah.
Yep, and that was Paulie from the Suite. You know.
Yeah.
That's how
Paulie's
Paulie and I got to know each other. Was me booking the Suite. You know.
Oh, nice. No, that's super cool.
So when Steve passed away from the Suite, Paulie moved on and started the Zeppelin tribute too. The dude can sing anything. He could sing the phone book and make it sound good, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Paulie's fantastic. I was very close with his late brother. David and I were really good friends.
That is, you know, and he takes that time off every July. You know, I think it's July that he passed away, wasn't it? Was it July?
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got him coming through the Midwest a couple times this year. I just booked him in New Mexico for February coming up. You know, it's interesting routing to hop from California back to New Mexico and then back to Riverside. So, but you know, everything's on a plane these days. Not a lot of ground tours anymore.
Yeah, no, very, very true. 100%, man. Definitely right about that. And before we kick it down to Angel to clear the board and see how everything's going, what can you tell us, like, currently about what you would like to see 2023 do, not only just for a rising force, but also for yourself?
Well, I think ARF's kind of like on a hiatus for a little bit. Everybody's writing songs. Billy's written like 5 or 6. I've got 5 or 6 in the can. Brian still writes. Peter is a writer. You know, I guess it depends on what singer brings to the. You know, I mean, you know, our album was pretty much 90%, and Dave contributed "Star" that he'd written, and then Billy wrote a song called "Trail of Tears," but it didn't have lyrics, so Dave wrote the lyrics for that. I wrote the hook. Dave wrote the rest of it. It's a song about the Native Americans getting screwed. It's really a pretty moving song. If you go read those lyrics, if you're a lyrics guy, Angel, those lyrics are pretty powerful. You know, cool. We cry for the nation; it's our only salvation. It's a pretty strong message, you know. But when I was singing it, I couldn't enunciate, so I'd have to keep doing it over because it was we cry for them all, but the way I was singing it, it was we cry for the mall. You know, like the mall's getting shut down. We cry for it, you know. Our engineer said, no, try this again. Okay. So I'm doing these super high, you know, where the geese are flying harmonies above Dave, like a super falsetto, high, powerful thing. And it was piercing when I did it. So when we were in the studio, I told Brian, I said, let's undermix it. So it just enunciates what Dave's singing. So it's like just another layer instead of being a full harmony. You know how great those Alice in Chains harmonies were? We did those, Believe. But then we used a high falsetto harmony on Trail of Tears, which I thought was pretty ridiculous. And I tried to, and then you have to try to pull it off live. And, it's like Leopold. Remember a Bugs Bunny cartoon when he's holding the glove up like this and the dude's like turning blue and green and his bow tie? You have to go look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely know what you're talking about.
I kind of did a roundabout question there. As far as, let me get back to what your question was. Sometimes I get off on a tangent. I'd like to see a third record, I guess. I don't know where it's going to go. The label wants to see a third record because we had really good success with the second record and the first record.
Yeah.
Because they reissued the first one, that sold out, and the second one is still being downloaded. It's still being streamed, so we're still seeing revenue. I'd like to see us maybe release that second single. We never got the video done because none of us could have agreed on, let's see our company continue to grow. I want to enjoy a little bit more of the summer. I was not home at all last year.
Oh.
I'd be home during the week, and then I'd be gone. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come home Sunday. I bought an RV last year. I think instead of, although people will probably look at it because we decked it out and put ARF all over it. So it says a Rising Force on the back of the RV. So if there's a truck behind it, you see nothing but the big Eclipse logo from our album cover on the back of the RV, and then it's on the front of the RV too. So when we pull up to a place, people are like, "Oh, the band's here." It's like, yeah, but tooling around with 8 sweaty dudes, it's not as romantic as people think. They always say, "Oh, the road must be great." It's like, yeah, well, you're eating gas station burritos and, you're trying not to use the toilet in the RV,
Right.
The beds are really not that comfortable, but it's a comfortable ride. I will say that, it's a Tiffin coach. So
nice.
So I have that in storage. So we'll pull it out probably in April or May. She wants to go to the Black Hill. I'd like to,
Yeah, absolutely, man, for sure.
No roundabout question. Sorry, I'm gonna be one in a circle.
Oh no, it's all
Angel,
good.
Were
man.
there any other questions with people, or are we good?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, we're very respectful of your time and just
Yeah,
want
man.
to just go.
No, that's fine. Just any other questions, I can finish them. She's in bed. Here, my
No,
daughter's got the bathtub going upstairs, so I'm down in my office. It's the cave. It's
Nice.
as I tell you, it's the everything that I do cave. There's a couple of bad shots I never got rid of, all the way around. There you go.
Yeah, man. No, that's totally sick, Lenny. Absolutely, man. But we really appreciate you taking time out of this evening to rock with us, just to hang out and talk about everything from horror to a Rising Force to, Hurricane Alice. I mean, it's been a really good conversation, man, and we can't thank you enough. And our biggest thing is that you had a good time, that you felt your time was respected, and that you enjoyed the questions that you got, and that you felt that this conversation was worth it.
And we didn't talk about the Vikings folding, a couple weeks ago.
True.
yeah.
But my hockey team, you know what? I live or die the Minnesota Wild. So they could lose, they could win. I'm a big hockey guy. That's been my sport. So I watch football because my wife loves football.
Okay.
So I grew up in I don't know if I told you this, I grew up in a divided house. My mom was from Wisconsin. My dad was from St. Paul. So what that meant is the talk on Sundays was Packers, Vikings, constantly. So to appease my parents, I just nodded and smiled and watched both teams, and I carried it through. So it was fun to see the Packers win a couple Super Bowl games.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Vikings win instead of lose Super Bowls. So I'd see them get to another one. It's like Charlie Brown with the football or with Lucy. It's like, oh, they're almost there, and that. See you later. I see one more question.
Oh, it's
Nice.
a fan saying they're a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan.
Oh, see, you guys kicked our ass the other night. It was last night, right? Wasn't it 4-2? Yeah, but you know what? We beat Tampa this year once.
And I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm actually a huge
So you're a
hockey
Bruins guy?
myself, and so I've been a Bruins guy my whole life.
So was Gary Cheevers your guy, or did you like the guys after Gary Cheevers?
I loved Gary Cheevers, but the guy that just cemented me in, dude, was Ray Bork. That was my guy.
Angel, you a hockey guy or no?
Yeah, once in a while, I like watching it.
Last night, I think Middleton got in a fight last night. He took a couple of good shots to the face. He got a couple in on the Lightning guy. I don't remember who he was fighting. See, the Tampa Bay guy's still watching. Tell me who he fought. I can't remember. And then one of their guys got a 10-minute game misconduct, and we still lost. I mean, it's just, but Kirill the Thrill, Kaprizov, we got a good team this year. We'll see what happens. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They might. There's still time.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. He said. Yeah. Our fan. He was saying, yeah, last night it was 4-2, returning the favor from earlier in the month.
Yes, sir. The one that put it to death was the open, the empty netter. That was the one that sealed the deal with about a minute and a half left.
Yeah, especially when you do those early goalie pulls.
That was like 2.5 in. I thought pulling 2.5 in, pulling Fleury out that early. I thought, Fleury's very acrobatic. I mean, you never know which version of Fleury you're going to get.
Yeah.
He's either going to you're going to go, wow, that's why he's a Stanley Cup goalie, or you're going to go, wow, that's why Chicago let him go,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Look at me. I'm stretching it out to that full hour and a half like we talked about early. It's up to you. I'm going to go right there. I'm just going to put my hair in a ponytail, go to bed, and get up at 4 o'clock and go, coffee? Coffee?
Oh no, totally.
Coffee?
The cool thing about our Tampa Bay Lightning fan that's watching is he's one of our friends and a friend of the show. It's our guy Mike. He's in a band called Steel City. He's a
cool.
huge hockey guy, and he's like, I feel good for Tampa Bay getting to the playoffs, but he's like, I don't know if they're going to get by Boston. Boston is tearing it up right now. They're actually on pace to set a record in wins.
And if he's still watching, I mean, the Lightning is a really solid team. I think it's Vlasic is their goalie. I might be mispronouncing that. He's great. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, it's like, oops, But they've won. I watched them win the Stanley Cup with nobody in the stands during COVID.
Right.
You remember that? It was just the weirdest, most surreal thing to watch them win the Stanley Cup with no fans. That was weird. That was really weird.
Yeah. It was so strange, like watching that for sure.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Or are you good?
No, everything's cool, but we
always. This was fun. I mean, it was fun. It was off the cuff. I'm sorry, I had some.
No, we cover everything.
Technical issues with myself. I mean, it's like,
totally.
All thumbs, no fingers when it comes to a cell phone.
No worries. Now, Lenny, we appreciate you, man. But let the fans know where you can be found if they're looking for a rising force or if they're looking for yourself. Where can you be found?
You can. I answer all the emails I can. If they're music related, you can go to the website. As far as ARF, the albums are still for sale. They can go to the Dark Star. Actually, you can go to risingforceband.com. You can buy the CDs. You can get merch. Our tour T-shirts are still up there, and they're real cool. We have long sleeve. We have hoodies. We got men's and women's. We sold out of the Red Skull which is the one I think you liked. We have some blue ones left. And if you want, I can arrange it. Just shoot me a message on Messenger,
Sure.
and I'll send you guys some CDs, and I'll see if a few of us can autograph them. If not, just me, and I'll send you some in the mail, and you can give them to your fans. Is that cool?
Yeah, cool. That would be great. I
got a box left of promo CDs. So
yeah. Lenny, that's killer, man. Absolutely. I really appreciate that. And I'll message you
I'll throw in some of these too. How about that?
Oh, please.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I got about 500 of these left from Clayton. I'm endorsed by Clayton too. So I get picks from those guys.
Oh, hell yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll message you my address off the air and that'd be
awesome.
I'll
kick it out next week. Is that cool?
Totally cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, the girls are leaving town on Wednesday they do a mother-daughter vacation every year. So they're leaving Wednesday, so I can just head down to the PO and I'll send it off to you probably Wednesday, Thursday. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
I'll send you like
cool.
5.
Absolutely.
Is that cool? 5?
5? Yeah. That's perfect, man. Absolutely. Hey, Angel, looks like Mike slid one more question in for Lenny.
Oh, look at that. Is it another hockey question?
No, this one's better.
I wish I had my glasses. Hold on. I can't read it, dude.
He asked you, what's the toughest thing about juggling your entertainment company with performing live in your band?
Last year was a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. Because I was in the back of the bus trying to book shows and deal with drama of, working with artists on the way to other gigs. It got to be a little bit much. So when I saw that December 10th was our last show of the year, I was so happy because I could just spend the holidays with my family. I could see the kids, and it's been nice. I don't play again until the 4th, so which is cool. That's the hard thing, is trying to juggle all of it. It's hard because when I'm not playing with ARF, I'm playing with Heartless, and then still working. East Coast phones start ringing at 7 a.m. So I've got to, and then West Coast ends at about 8 o'clock at night. So, most of the stuff we do is email, so that's great. But I still have those clients that like to talk, and I like a good conversation. I've had some of the same clients for 20, 30 years. So it's just, this business is all based on relationships and trust, and the people you work with.
Yes.
Because if you do a good job, people refer you. If you do a shitty job, people don't refer you. I just swore on your podcast. I guess that's okay, though.
Yeah.
You didn't have to hit the beep, so that's nice. I didn't drop an F-bomb. That's impressive. An hour and a half, not one F-bomb. How about that?
That's a record. Yeah, that's a record for me.
Is that a record?
That's a record.
I usually curse a lot. Yeah, I usually curse a lot.
Well, the F-bomb, you think about it. It's an adjective, it's a noun, it's a verb. It's an adverb.
I think that this is the one episode we could send to Tipper Gore and tell her that we don't.
I wonder if she'd like it. I don't think there's anything too steamy for her. No. Shake It Like a Rag Doll might be a little bit in the. That might be a little. I don't know if Tipper would like to, strip down, shake it up, and sew it. There's some. Yeah, those lyrics are kind of sexual, I guess.
Yeah, well, she did a little bit more help than she meant to by putting on some of those labels. Making the young kids be like, oh, what must be on these records? They
gotta buy it.
They made them like more enticing to us. Like,
we got to get a sticker.
Do you remember the trial when Dee Snider came out and he's just like glaring at everybody in Congress, and he throws his hair back and he flips the pages open, starts reading it out of a note. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, he folded up piece of paper out of his jacket. Things
Yeah.
all
But look, he's
15
still married. Look, but he's still married to the same woman, Tipper Gordon. They're getting divorced. We all turned out all right. Damn it.
Yeah, we did.
We did. We
You know what?
definitely
We rode our bicycles without helmets.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't need, the safe space was, hiding behind your dad if you broke your sister's thing, that was,
Yep. And we had to buy records. I had to buy porn.
or steal it,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody.
And we actually
everybody
bought
knew
records.
everyone knew where Dad's stash was.
And we all, you know what else? We did remember that goofy merry-go-round thing that spun in a circle?
Yeah,
And you'd spin it as fast as you could to see if one of your friends would like fly off and then throw up.
yeah.
And then you just sit around and laughed at them. Yeah. And it was a good childhood. Now everybody needs social intervention. It's like such bullshit,
We used to
Sorry.
set our friends up on the seesaw, man, on like the teeter-totter thing. So like, instead of like, when you go down to the ground and your friend's like up in the air, and then we would like jump off the end of the teeter-totter and just watch like our friends.
I miss doing that.
Step on each other's head in the pool.
Yeah.
Or better yet, we did we did crazy stuff and nobody was recording or taking pictures.
No, you didn't have the cell phone in your
No.
hand, in your face. That's one thing, I guess that's one thing that took a while for me to get used to, was having, phones in your face all the time.
I hate those fucking things.
I just, and they say it's a necessary evil, kind of like, social media. I'm not a big social media guy. I barely post anymore unless it's a show. And just because it's just, people just take it way too seriously. When you've created something that makes you addicted, like Las Vegas gambling, then you're in trouble. Because I can see people just sitting there all day long. You go to my wife and I go out to dinner. Everybody's on their cell phone. Two of us are just having a nice conversation. Even the waitress is on a cell phone. I mean, it's like, come on, put it down.
Yeah, it was funny. I was working the other day. I'm a bartender and a server at a restaurant, and I was actually like, it was so weird because I wanted to go up to like this table, but I'm watching like this couple, just both of them faces buried in their respective cell phones, like not even talking to each other. And I'm just like, do I even go up and just see if they need anything? Because I was kind of fascinated by the fact that these two people were 3 feet apart and just paying no attention to either of themselves.
That's sad.
To each other.
Yes, it is.
It was very strange.
Oh, well. Hey, this could be our next interview.
Absolutely.
The life and death of the cell phone and social media,
with a pinch of hockey thrown in.
Right,
absolutely. You got to have
exactly.
hockey.
That's a good.
My buddy up in Canada, Bill Maffey, who we met at one of the festivals I worked at. We talk once a week, and he's a big Flyers guy.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So I guess I got to call him in the next couple of days, because I think I got 3 out of 4 wrong at football this weekend.
Oh,
damn.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I think I owe him some pizza. Bill, if you're watching, I'll make good on the pizza when you come to Moondance. All right.
Nice.
I don't know which one we're going to do. I'll bring 3 back to your campsite.
There we go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this was great, guys. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man,
you know.
you're an alumni, your family. I mean, but also just in general, reach out for anything. If a show pops up you want to promote, new merch, when you get things going, hopefully, with the new record. Hey, Lenny, reach out anytime, man. We got you covered, man. We'll promote about anything you want.
You could see 2. I mean, you might see 2 records this year. You never know.
Hey, never know.
You're definitely going to see Steve's by the end of the year. And
sure.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Sounds great.
I think everyone's enjoying their time off right now. No.
Absolutely. We're all about
Well, have
that.
a great night, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate
You too,
it.
Lenny. Take care, my friend.
And
Absolutely.
don't forget to send me that address so I can mail the stuff out to you. Okay.
I will.
Yes.
I'll send it to you in a little bit after we get off air.
Cool. Angel,
For
have a
sure.
great night.
You too. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Metal
Yep.
Summoners, thank you guys so much. We appreciate Lenny being on the show with us, and we appreciate you guys tuning in and having a great time with us. Great questions, great interaction, and make sure that you're checking out Lenny and A Rising Force and keeping an eye out for everything they're doing, as well as everything that Lenny's doing with the new Steve record that's coming out, the solo record, and all of that stuff. You know, make sure you support the bands because live music is finally back with us. So we really, really appreciate all the fans getting out there to support the bands, whether they're going to see the shows live or buying a CD or buying a t-shirt. Every little bit helps, guys. And we appreciate you guys tuning in so we can keep these awesome interviews going. So make sure that you get out there to support A Rising Force and Lenny. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Guest announcement will be later this week for next week's episode. It's going to be an absolute great one. And thank you to Steve and Charlie Pressed Up for joining on with us. Again, a very happy birthday to Charlie. And we will see you guys real soon. Make sure you're following Angel Alamo on his Facebook and his Instagram, Bobby Dreyer at BobbyDreyer.com, and myself on Facebook as well as Instagram at Just a R&R Junkie. But we will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, you guys. Check out, watch for the guest announcement. It's going to be fantastic. Take care, be good to each other, and we love you guys. Horns up, fangs out, and we will see you guys in a little bit. For all of you watching, as always, you've been watching The Metal Summit.